Hello, good evening, everybody. I am back here again with my good friend Matthew, and we have a lot of things to discuss. The two primary things being one, what a game. That was fun. I didn't even chirp the Caps after it, even though I normally do, because it was just how fun it was. And two, one of our goalies is getting deported. It is not the new guy. It is not the one that looks like Ed Sheeran, and it's not the Russian. Or it might be the Russian. It might be the one that looks like Ed Sheeran, I should say. So, Matthew, go ahead, weigh in. Tell me, first off, your thoughts on which goalie we should potentially look at deporting. And I use deporting specifically because Edmonton's looking really hard for a goalie right now.
That's true. And but before I give my opinion on that, there is something I want to say. I'll just brief, and you'll have to just stick with me here for a little moment here, Brandon.
Okay.
But I'm going to actually bring a parallel here a little bit from my Catholic spirituality. And that is, in Catholic theology, sometimes we say that something is fitting. Even if it's not strictly necessary, God might do it because it's the most fitting thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this game was perfectly fitting. And that all of our questions, everything that we've been asking, all of this buildup, all this anticipation, all this, is our best goalie really a waiver claim? Is he really ready to handle this? Is this sustainable? Was all answered today in the most fitting way possible. And it was fitting that it should go to overtime. It was fitting that Bussi would make 3 saves in overtime. It was fitting that he would stop Ovechkin on 3 grade A chances. And It was fitting that Svechnikov would lose the handle, which forced all 3 shooters for the Capitals to come out of the ice in the shootout, and for Bussi to stop them all. And I just couldn't be happier.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's like I said in our chat, something along the lines of Bussi got an A and he got the extra credit. Because even just what I saw in regulation alone, I was like, all right, I've seen enough. Like, we need to ride with this guy because we're still relatively early in the season. We haven't hit game 41 yet. So he's got plenty of time to continue to build on his game until the playoffs, which is where the important decision has to be made in regards to who's going to start. Because for the time being, it's like people are saying, oh, well, what happens when Slavin comes back? Well, you can have 23 players on the roster. So Nystrom goes back to Chicago, as painful as that is, because I think he's been great.
He was really good to me too.
The only thing I'm afraid of with sending him back to Chicago is overcooking him down there, but that's another discussion entirely. Plus, he has to be in Chicago. Nobody wants to be there. So there's that, but he'll go back to Chicago. Slavin comes in. Then you have 20 skaters and 3 goalies. You can do that. Ergonomically speaking, it's not viable. Yeah. It's not ideal. So Canes have needs. Other teams need goalies. If you're the Edmonton Oilers and you are relying on Stuart Skinner to win you games, you're not in a good spot. You're setting yourself up for Connor McDavid to walk in free agency. They need somebody.
Well, if that's specifically who the deportation location, if you will, if it's Edmonton, then I don't think Edmonton would want a Freddie because he's 36 years old on the last year of his deal. They would want PK. They would want Kochetkov. And because that's, frankly, and he's the one I think we should keep. The one I think should be exiled, if we're going to exile anyone, is going to be Freddie, because he just seems cooked to me. And it's sad because he's been great for the franchise, for the organization. He was stellar in the playoffs last year. But, it just looks like his time has come.
Yeah.
And maybe we could say both PK and Freddie, maybe not in the same week, but they both get one more chance. One more chance to show who should stay and who should go. One more game. And they both, they better show something. Even if if it's a 1-0 shutout loss, okay, fair. You still at least show me something, but you better show me. You better have a save percentage of over 91%, which I didn't think was asking for too much. But apparently that's asking for too much really these days.
Yeah, and
for a lot of teams.
Yeah, and the other thing is, it's like, okay, in a 1-0 game like the scenario you're talking about here, if a goalie holds them to 1 goal, I'm not blaming them in the event of a loss. Unless Carolina limits them to 4 shots or something an entire game. I don't think that'll ever happen, but the team that is ever going to accomplish that, it's going to be Carolina. But it's like, at that point, it's kind of like, all right, the goalie did his job. The rest of you all need to do yours. It's kind of like, the 3-run rule in baseball. If your starter gets you through 7 innings and only gives up 3 runs. The rest of it's on the guys at the plate to get the job done for you. You can't ask anything else of the guy that was on the mound for 6 2/3 innings.
Like Randy Johnson, where the only hit he gives up in the whole game is a solo home run, and his team loads the bases on every inning and doesn't score.
It sounds like that Braves game.
Or Mets.
I still think the wildest thing that ever happened with Randy Johnson was when he obliterated that seagull or whatever it was.
Right. Yeah.
That was insane. Feathers. The ball just disappeared into the abyss and feathers everywhere. That poor seagull or dove or whatever it was had no idea what was about to happen to it. At least it was over quick. But it's like,
fair enough. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, one of them at this point, Bussi's won. He's locked in. That's
he's
how I feel.
Number one.
And I was,
and he should start 2 out of every 3. Frankly,
I agree.
I don't. Yeah.
I was kind of in that spot,
there.
That same spot that you were of like, okay, I'm not going to get overly excited about a guy claimed off of waivers. I am not going to do that. I am not going to do that. I am not going to do that. I'm going to wait and see what we got. But 11 starts, 10 wins. The one game they didn't win, he played not terrible. I think Carolina should have won that game, but he did well enough to keep them in it. So I was in that same spot, the whole waiting for the fitting, if you will. But now, I think that part is past. You know who number 1 is. Now you just got to decide who the other one is, because you can't send Bussi through waivers. You can't assign him to Chicago. Obviously he will get claimed.
Not an option. Not an option.
No, he will get claimed. Freddie and Kochekov, it's like it wouldn't be unprecedented to just waive Freddie because it happened with Ronta literally around this same time of year.
You could waive him.
Mm-hmm. I would hate to trade somebody this close to Christmas. I really would. But we're getting to the point where it's like, I think we have a threshold from now until January 2nd to make a decision on either Frederick Anderson or Pyotr Kochekov being number 2. I think that's a decent amount of time. That's about 3 weeks, 2.5 realistically. It's about, You've got about 21 days, 22 days to make a decision. And considering that there's a 3-day break in there anyway, you can do that. But before the Olympics, at minimum, if you're going to make a move, do it.
Yeah, we can't hold 3 goalies on the roster for indefinitely. That situation cannot continue. Brent, and see, we were waiting for this, right? Because it's like, okay, he beats Nashville, right? It's like, oh, okay, he beats Calgary, all right, all right, but no, Washington is high octane. One of the best offenses in the league, much to my chagrin, and. The one that beat him, the breakaway. Okay, it's a breakaway. It happens. And the second goal, not on him at all, not remotely. Failure to clear, a great pass by Sandin out in front, and a tap in.
And Miller had no idea that puck hit him either.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. You say maybe he could have played the puck a little better behind the net, but I mean. It's the NHL. It's going to happen, especially a team like the Capitals. You're probably not going to shut them out.
No,
and golly, if the freaking Post would be kinder to us, we'd have had 5 tonight.
I think it was just the Post
really annoying.
The Post at that end of the ice was cursed. It was
true.
Out for blood tonight. It was just because I think Carolina rang it 3 times and Washington rang it twice. I think in that end, it happened. Yeah, that was just a bunch. But there is one comment I want to put up here because I think this is an important thing to talk about. Caleb says, isn't the decision going to have to be made when Slavin comes back? Technically, no. You probably missed the first part of the show, but we talked about this a little bit. When Slavin comes back, Nystrom is probably going back to Chicago, which sucks because he's played really well. That's why I said if you include Walker in a deal to bring something needed in, Nystrom can take that spot. Because I used to think that Nikishin and Legault were the pair that I was excited about in the future. But right now, I don't want to break Nikishin and Nystrom up.
Nystrom is so he's doing everything right. I was just watching. What did he like? He what is he? He's like 5'11", 185 at the most. He shielded Tom Wilson in the corner. Tonight.
He's been sorry if
Tom
he was
Wilson
bigger.
was like, well, yeah. I mean, that just goes to show you how much that extra, 4 or 5 inches of height matters.
Yeah,
because he was able to shield off Tom Wilson, who's at least a head taller and probably at least, 30, 40 pounds. And we all know who he is and his reputation. And he just he completely shielded him off the puck in a corner and did his job.
And the other thing is
spectacular.
The other thing is Nystrom has an extension in his stick, so he's got a couple extra inches on it, which is irregular for players of his height. That's a stick you would expect someone like Nikishin to be using, but he does it effectively. Right. And the reason that impresses me so much, and I'm speaking from experience here, when you have a stick that's a little bit too long for you, because I did that for a long time, you're prone to three things: fanning on shots, taking really bad tripping penalties, or not really bad ones, but like ones you could have avoided if you had a better gap. And that leads into the third thing. It kind of throws your gaps off. So the thing is, Caleb, when Slavin comes back, you can have 23 guys on the roster. You send Nystrom back, that frees up the spot for Slavin. So that's 23 of 23, 20 skaters and 3 goalies at that point, because you'll have your 18 regular skaters, extra forward, extra defenseman, and 3 goalies. That's just not sustainable, though, because you need to have a more fluid rotation amongst the goalies. So that's where a decision has to be made.
Yeah, honestly, I'd probably waive Riley and keep Nystrom.
The only problem with that, though, I don't want Nystrom sitting collecting dust.
Just to not play? Well,
yeah, that's
he's a better player.
He's definitely a better player, and Riley will get claimed. Riley's good enough to where somebody will claim him if you put him through the waiver wire. But I'd rather Nystrom go to Chicago and get minutes than not play. Yeah, because he's waiver exempt. That's the other thing as well. So, and the window on that I think is coming up. Well, no, he's on an ELC, so he's fine. Yeah, I think we can send him back whenever. But yeah, it's like the decision with that has to be made. And Caleb brought up another good point here, and we'll get to more of the comments here in a second. Riley is also good enough you could use him as a trade bait for a playoff team desperate for another D-man. That's true. If Riley was playing in a lot of other teams that weren't so deep on the blue line, I think that he's still like third pair full-time NHL capable.
Something I'll mention, and this would kind of pay me because Nystrom is our draft pick and he's a gem and he's been so good, but he is also going to be very, very attractive to especially any rebuilding team because he's young, he's effective, and if we want to go big game hunting for someone like Robert Thomas, he'd have to be. I think Nystrom would have to be because I don't know that they'd want Sean Walker.
I was going to say if we're going to trade him, we're a few years late on that.
Yeah.
I still definitely say Jason Blake at times, and he never even played.
Yeah, right. So we'd have to. Sean Walker would not be as attractive to a rebuilding team like St. Louis, but Nystrom would.
Yeah,
and even you have to give to get, and it's great that we've got a player like him who I would hate to lose. But if we're gonna go big game hunting, he'd be someone that we should probably dangle.
Yeah, I agree. Because I'd rather give him up than Legault just from the standpoint of size and physicality. Nystrom's got a decent amount of physicality to his game for his size, but Legault is someone I want there not only for what he does as a player, but he also, if he'll punch a skate blade, he'll punch somebody in the face. He won't think twice about that. So
right, yeah,
that's another thing to consider with him.
And St. Louis, Nystrom is already better. He's probably he'd be their third best defenseman right now.
he would.
St. Louis is.
That's really bad. And, it's with all the people who were saying this stuff about, oh, well, it would be stupid for St. Louis to trade Robert Thomas because he's basically their Aho. Okay, let's do some revisionist history here. If it's 2019, 2020 timeframe and the Hurricanes haven't turned the corner yet, I start taking calls about Aho.
Or especially because Thomas is maybe a year or two younger than Aho. If we were in that position, if we were a bottom feeder team, but we still had Aho producing, he's 20, he's 29. You're damn right. You should entertain calls on him because you're not going anywhere with him for the next 4 years. If St. Louis, if you're going to keep Robert Thomas, then you're just wasting an asset.
Yeah, and you're wasting his prime. Yeah. Mm-hmm. By the time you're done with this rebuild, this rebuild, his contract is over.
Right. Yeah, and so that's actually maybe poor asset management who is it? Is it Arm? It's not Armstrong, is it? Is it Armstrong at St. Louis?
Yeah.
Well, it is Mail Armstrong. Yeah. So that'd be poor asset management on him if he doesn't trade Robert Thomas. He might not do it this season. I mean, I wish I'd love to move him to get him at the deadline, but he might not do it this season. But definitely in the off season, like that's something you have to do. That's something he'd have to consider. Like he'd be a bad team if he wasn't.
My stopgap number one right now, if you can't get a long-term piece like Robert Thomas, my stopgap number one right now is definitely Boone Jenner. Because the cool thing about Jenner, he's still young enough to where when you get another center to fill in the top six, you can bump Jenner down and put him in the Stahl role, because he has a very similar game to Jordan Stahl. The only difference being, he produces a little bit more. That being said, lately Jordan Stahl's been like, you think I can't produce? Let me show you something. Like,
he's outscoring Andre.
The only reason that the power play doesn't suck that bad right now is him.
Is Stahl.
He is
That's
the only reason why.
That's for sure. But yeah, back to Bussi. We talked about this a little bit in the when we were doing the San Jose live stream. The fact that he throws shooters off with his not just with being a right catching goaltender, but the fact he throws the VH in there every now and then. He used it a few times. I mentioned this. Yeah, he did, and he skates extremely well. We were mentioning this on our group chat, and Tripp mentioned it in the broadcast. He's the best skater of our three goaltenders right now.
Yes,
and maybe not the best puck handler, but he's definitely the best skater.
He can figure that out, though. If he can skate, he'll figure out the puck
handling. It's not like bad. I wouldn't say it's like unusable, but I think Kochetkov is a little bit more. Of course, it's still an adventure with him. Maybe he does it too much, but he's still. I think that's still PK is maybe a little bit better at that particular skill. But Bussi is definitely the best skating of our three goaltenders, and we saw it, like especially his ability to go side to side in a hurry when he stoned Ovechkin on that on the backdoor play. And also in the shootout when he was able to match the speed and then when I don't know if you know this, I mean it's just shootouts are shootouts, right? And you normally I don't like it when a game goes to a shootout. It's like it's basically a tie in my book.
Yeah,
but again,
I agree.
Fitting this tonight. And you can see as soon as like on basically every other goalie, probably every other goalie in the league with just a couple of exceptions, when all the Washington shootout attempts got in tight, they were cooked.
Yeah.
They had absolutely nowhere to go because he's just so freaking big and was able to match the speed perfectly. And once they got within like 3 feet of him, they had nothing to shoot at.
Yes, absolutely. And go ahead.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And then you saw with Seth Jarvis, when he was able to do that, spectacular move again and beat Thompson. Thompson a little smaller, and not only did he bite, but he didn't have the length. Whereas Bussi probably might have been able to stick his pad out and get it. And Svechnikov had him beat too, but he just lost the handle. But again, fitting.
It rolled on him.
Rolled on him. But again, fitting because that gave Bussi a chance to make another save and solidify his number one status.
Yeah, and the other thing is, it's like, so I've actually skated on that ice at Capital One Arena. Mm-hmm. So people imagine that NHL ice is the best ice there is. It's actually some of the worst.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is it's like all the guys skating on it make these really deep ass ruts because they're all good and powerful skaters. So there was one game I went to where I played so Washington played Buffalo. So I was basically just sitting there watching, like, as far as I was concerned, it was Hitler versus Stalin. It was like I was watching an Eastern Front battle in 1943. Like that's all I saw. I was like, is there any way they can both lose? And I couldn't have been any less interested in that game. I really couldn't have. And I was only there because I was playing after, and I had to be there when the game started because they took us to a particular locker room, because NHL arenas, they don't just have the locker rooms for the teams. They have a bunch of like little spare ones there. It's even the same thing like in the Crown Coliseum where the Fayetteville Marksmen play, because I played on that ice before too. But like you go there and we go down there and the Zamboni had just got off and I stepped on the ice and it felt like quicksand the entire time and it only got worse and worse and worse. Mm-hmm. So imagine what the ice is like at the end of the third period after an entire NHL game plus overtime. There's ruts and chunks and piles of snow and all kinds of other stuff. So it's like when that puck rolled off his stick, there was nothing he could do about that. That's just purely bad luck. Like it just
yeah,
sucks.
I'm not like severely knocking him or anything. Again, I'm happy. I'm glad it happened.
Oh no, I know you're
again,
not. I'm just saying, like, for the audience out there, I've skated on that particular
Right.
sheet of ice. I know how bad it can get.
Yeah, and frankly, at Lenovo Center, the ice gets really rough there too. It doesn't have the best reputation,
Especially in spring and summertime, it gets really bad.
And especially after like a NC State game.
Yeah, that's another thing.
But yeah, I'm just super stoked. I'm so happy for Brandon Bussi. I mean, I haven't seen that latest episode of the little kind of soap opera that the team is producing. But apparently they interviewed him, and I want to see that because it's just like amazing to me just to see that he's 27 years old, he's battling in the minors, hasn't had his chance yet. Signs a deal with Florida, I think, after being in Boston system behind Allmark and Swayman his whole career. And
I think it goes back even further than that. I think he was still there when it was Rask and Halak.
Halak, maybe. Yeah, I guess that was like 4 or 5 years ago.
He's 27, so he had to be in their system around that time.
Yeah, he was a Boston draft pick, wasn't he?
I believe so. Here, I'll tell you in 2 seconds.
Yeah, we can look that up. Oh, and he's an American, so Team USA starter. Why not?
Dude, with the way he's been playing, like, I wouldn't be surprised if he's getting looked at for that.
I mean, Hellebuck is great. He's hurt. Hellebuck is injured. So Ottinger, I guess, is the number one.
Oh my God.
And dude, who else?
Guess what his GSAX is? And this is not counting the game tonight. Yeah.
Goals against
7.47.
Right?
Yeah, it only says Penn's games played right now. It hasn't updated yet on Puckpedia, but his GSAX, not including this game, is 7.47. That is insane.
That is really good. That is really good. Like, especially with the kind of high danger. He's got the best high danger save percentage in the league.
Right now. Especially after tonight, he still has to.
And honestly, like that again, part of me is like, still, are we going to be apprehensive about this? But I'm full send on the bus, on the Magic School Busy here now. That's exactly the kind of goalie the Hurricanes need, is the high percentage guy. The high danger percentage guy.
Yeah, because they don't give up many chances.
You don't give up many. Yeah,
the ones you do give up, the other teams have to work for. So it's like very okay. So he was signed to an ELC on 30 March 2022. So yeah, he was there at least for Swayman and Allmark era.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and then he signs in Florida, but they've got they've got Bobrovsky and Tarasov.
Yeah.
So he wasn't going to beat them out, in preseason or anything. And shout out to was it Paul Alexander?
Mm-hmm.
Our goaltending coach and scout who knew about him and saw him, and that might have just, who knows? I mean, like,
I'm
it's
trying to find when
just
he
a
was
couple
drafted.
Just it's 11 games, but I am super stoked. That could have changed the franchise.
I want to see when he was drafted, because he was playing at, I believe it said Western Michigan. So he's probably been in that pipeline with the Bruins at the time frame. Okay, so he did 3 years at Western Michigan. He was undrafted? Okay.
Undrafted, yeah.
Okay, so he did his 3 years at Western Michigan. Then the Bruins signed him. Then he played in Providence, where he had, in his first season, 5 games played, 2.54 goals against average, 920 save percentage. And then with the other season he did with the Providence Bruins, he went down to the Maine Mariners for a little bit. He had 2.4 goals against average, 924 save percentage.
924, yeah. He's been really good in the AHL whenever he's gone. Like, he's been really good there. Look at his stats in the playoffs. Just look at his elite prospects profile here. His lowest, he's like the lowest average he's had was 907.
They signed him right after Tuukka Rask retired. Boston did.
Gotcha.
Literally like a month later.
They had Swayman, Allmark, and then Korpisalo.
Yeah.
So
because they traded
in the league. Yeah. So I mean, like he's been really good in the minors, and it's taken a long time for him to bide his time, and just I have nothing but admiration for that. It reminds me of Derek Ryan a little bit.
Yeah, that was a
very
good
different player,
story. I
but
love that story.
mhm. But
I,
yeah,
I
like
actually
just a player
specifically
who's
talked
plugged it
about
in the minors
the
for years on end, waiting for his chance, finally gets it, and then stays in the NHL the rest of his career.
the day he retired. I
Yeah.
did a little segment about him on a stream I did that night because that was a really
Oh wow.
inspiring
Yeah.
story to me, especially like the story about him playing like through like on the day that his mom passed away. Like that was something. But we'll get to some of the comments here because we've got quite a few. Lackey, what's up, buddy? Daily, thank you to Caden Primo and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Yes, thank you.
Indeed, the unsung hero. Let me just stop right there. The unsung hero of this whole thing is Caden Primo because he plays himself to be too good to really send down in the preseason, but we have to do it. And so and for that reason, we have to find someone else to get. And Brandon Bussi happens to be available on the waiver wire. And Toronto takes him. He's not good there. And then they send him back to us. So
Well, it's hard to be a good goalie in Toronto anyway.
I know. That's true. So it's not even really Primo's fault. But so that's right. Hey, way to take one for the organization. Thank you, Caden Primo. He probably will never play a regular season game for us. And I don't care. He helped us get Brandon Bussi, which means that 7th round pick was worth it.
Yes, I agree. Jarvis in 2020 and now Bussi in 2025. Also what a great game from Ehlers, probably his strongest performance of the year. Yes, by far. That
Absolutely.
was
so yeah. Bussi number 1 star, Ehlers 2, Stankoven 3.
I agree. And the other thing is, like, I know that this wouldn't happen because he's already too far along in his career. But if Ehlers was a little bit younger and not set in his ways, I'd try him at center. Because he's got the speed for it.
Fast.
It's like
he's fast. He's really fast.
He's good defensively.
Tonight. Yeah, he's incredibly fast. The only thing is, I guess, and he's not the only one who has this, but like everyone is so shot averse when they're in the slot. Golly, you're in the slot, just take the shot. It's the best angle of attack, guys. Geometry.
Aho couldn't hit the broadside of an aircraft carrier when he would try to shoot the puck tonight, and I think that's part of the reason he's hesitating to shoot right now. It's like, and to all of you out there saying that he sucks and to trade him and that he's actually a second line center, he's going through a slump, and this franchise might be in Houston or Quebec City without him. So stop it. Like,
I mean, yeah, I'm not particularly worried about Aho at the moment. But yeah, I was just like I said, it's not just like I saw Ehlers today, even how well he was playing. Still, he was in the slot, with no one with a clear shot lane, and just decided to go wide and skate himself into pressure, and the puck was turned over. So, like, look, yes, I know the goalie. It's still 5 to 10% chance for the puck to go in, but it's better than skating into the corner and not getting a shot off at all.
I agree.
I mean, the slot is the big. You have the most net to shoot at. It's not that hard a concept. Don't they? They teach us in Pee Wees.
Yeah, they do. I apparently didn't get that message though because I just keep hitting the post still. TTC VTH says Ehlers, Stankoven, Blake line was rolling tonight, especially Fly. Bussi is the greatest story in sports at the moment. I agree, absolutely. That line was really impressive because last game the whole team was kind of dog shit last game, but like that line in particular, I was kind of like, yeah, it might be time to shake the top 6 up a little bit. Slump thoughts on the Bussi Miller situation. That's just bad luck because Miller's a big dude. And when Bussi sent that puck off him, he probably thought it was a bug hitting him or something. It's just messed up situation. Physics were not on their side. And when you're in the trapezoid area like Bussi was in that situation, you only got 1 of 2 ways you can go. It's either left or right. It's pretty linear in that situation. And honestly, it would have been more likely to be a consequential decision if he went the other way.
I was more disappointed that Miller left out wide open.
Yeah,
that was what I was a little more upset about, and Scott that's where we need Slavin because Slavin would have just broken up that pass.
Yeah, that would have been a problem.
What are you going to do?
But they got it done against one of the best teams in the league. Yeah,
fitting because if we score late like that, then it doesn't go to overtime, and we can't get Bussi here the well-deserved props that he should have. So. Yeah, it's providential.
seeing him in a game like that really built my confidence in him, where I'm like, okay, lock him in. He's it. Cavery says Ehlers and Bussi was great, but Stankoven had a great bounce back game, 1 goal and 1 assist. Yes, Stankoven is one of the biggest reasons Carolina won tonight. And, it's like honorable mention for a 4-star, if you will. I would give that to Nystrom.
Nikishin had a great game too.
Yeah, that pair was just great.
Yeah, great job getting the puck to the net on Ehlers' goal. And
900 900 game or over 900 games.
Over 900 games.
Bussi 7 out of 11, and even when he was below 900, it wasn't by much. Cooch 2 out of his 5, Anderson 3 out of his 14. That is true. Like, you can't deny that. Bobby, what's up, buddy? Glad to see Stankoven light the lamp. Fly at his best game as it came. What else can you say about the bus? I'm in, dude. I'm totally in.
He's also playing himself into the Calder Trophy conversation too.
He can't get it. He's too old.
I don't know if it works that way. Are you sure?
Yeah, it does. No, I looked into that already.
They must have changed that because
they did.
Okay. Well, that's lame.
he's already 27, so he can't. He's unfortunately not eligible for the Calder. So I guess the Vezina,
yeah.
The Vezina and the Stanley Cup will just have to do.
Yeah. And the gold and the Olympic gold, right? Yeah.
Dude, if Team USA's not looking at him, that dude, like,
maybe as the third guy. Yeah. PK in a Russian group. They're professionals. I mean, they got to be able to handle. They got to be able to handle. Like, people move. Everyone in that team loved Natchez except the coach.
Yeah,
like everyone was like good friends with Natchez, and they all were got along with him and got along great together. Except that Rob Britton was the only one who didn't really like him.
Yeah, so, and I wouldn't even say he disliked.
And everyone even loved Jack Drury even more. Like, Jack Drury was a phenomenal teammate. And so that's happened. They're professionals. This is their job. This is the life they chose. They get paid well to do it.
Yeah, they do. It's like that. That's something that I think everybody in that room understands, because, like, a lot of the how do I put this nicely, uninitiated think that Jarvis is going to automatically request a trade to go wherever KK goes, and no, Jarvis wants to win a cup, and he knows he's got a really damn good chance of doing that in Carolina. Plus, the team is kind of like his now. It's like he's kind of becoming the face of the franchise.
And KK knows that he's on the trade block. He knows that. And everyone, I think everyone on the team knows it too.
I think he's welcoming it too, because I think the kid just needs he needs a fresh start somewhere where he can play his game a little bit more. But
I agree,
situation.
I agree.
Yes, PK over Freddie. That's the way I'm headed to. All right, we talked about that one already. You need 32 in the equation because running 31-52 again would be insanity. That's a good point. That's a very good point. Dallas lost. So did New Jersey. Actually, New Jersey got destroyed.
New Jersey is absolutely cratering.
But all they'll say is, if we had Jack Hughes isn't going to stop you from losing games 7-3 or whatever it was that they got killed by. I mean, losing that bad to Tampa a few years ago is one thing, but in 2025, no. Watching Vancouver play now our future too. See, I'm not sold on that yet, but
I mean,
Sherwood just scored.
Yes, I do like Sherwood.
I do like really Sherwood. It's just if we didn't have Carrier, I'd want Sherwood. But I don't really see a need for Sherwood when we got Carrier. Now, when Carrier inevitably, then again though, it's like half the team has been injured and Carrier hasn't been one of them. Like, that wasn't on my bingo card.
Yeah, about that, Caleb. Yeah, I'm just not sure that Riley is. I mean, I get he's depth. He'll always be depth, and he's decent depth, but he's not gonna. He can't be just the lone piece in a trade for something.
He'd have to be part of something bigger.
He'd have to be part of something and if it's going to be for a playoff team, like the playoff team's going to acquire depth from a non-playoff team.
Yeah, typically.
Why would they come to us for that? Because we've already got, like, depth is something we'd want, and if we've got it, then we don't need to get any more, but we wouldn't want to trade it away. We'd have to go looking for it again.
Yeah. Or as good as he's played, I should say. And Nystrom is also on an ELC, adding to his allure. Yeah, like we talked about.
What I was saying. Yeah.
What's up, gang? Hey, Daniel. BG, what's up, buddy? AB, what's up, dude? Bus is your number one. You don't get another goalie now. His composure during OT and the shootout has solidified his spot. His angles and attacking top of the crease is lead. He's a diamond in the rough. I think he's out of the rough now, dude. I think we're at the diamond part.
He's shining. He is cut and faceted, and to extend that metaphor, he is absolutely stellar.
Yes, love Nystrom, but we need what Legault brings more. I agree. The physicality. Fair. B, Bussi deserves a Crunch Wrap Supreme. I don't even eat those anymore unless we make them at home. And I've not threatened a Taco Bell. I've not threatened a Taco Bell employee over one in about 14 years now, so 15 years, something like that. I was hungry. I'd just gotten off the ice. I hadn't eaten all day. I was hungry. Could you imagine a Canes versus Blues 2019 SCF? Maybe if McElhinney had stayed in the net, we might have had that. Probably not, but
Tuukka Rask was really good in that.
He was. That's like the Canes kryptonite, goalies being good. Like, it's
time to flip the tables on that.
Yeah, it looks like it, because I sit there and I think about that, and I'm like, like Oilers fans bragging about getting to the Stanley Cup Finals, 2 times in a row. I'm like, most of the good goalies in the league are in the East. Like, if you think about like the absolute crucible that Carolina has had to go through with goalies that they've played against, Tuukka Rask twice, Igor Shesterkin twice, Sergei Bobrovsky twice. Like, Carolina's not had it easy. Whenever they play against like if you want to talk about series they won, Ilya Sorokin twice. It's 3 times with Sorokin, I think, actually.
It wasn't the first time. It wasn't him. It was
it was worse. Grice, it was Thomas Greiss had our number then.
Greiss. Yeah,
Thomas Greiss annihilated us back.
We got him that time.
Yeah, because when I saw him,
let's not forget Braden Holtby, who was just coming off.
He was on top of his game then.
Goalie. Yeah.
Not many teams have the cap to make Robert Thomas contract work during the season, but the Canes are one of those teams. We can get just about anybody we want, provided the trade can go through.
Yeah, we could even, if we really wanted to, we could get Pettersson if we trade KK.
Yeah, that wouldn't be too hard. Actually, at this point, with the daily cap hit accounted for, I think even theoretically speaking, you'd have to move somebody out to make a roster spot anyway. But just strictly from a cap standpoint, I think that there's enough now to get Pettersson. Just they won't give him up for futures. But I'm just saying, theoretically, if Jim Rutherford decided to do that, and we've seen Jim Rutherford's handiwork of rebuilding a team, it's not very good. That's what I want to warn all my Canucks friends about. Yeah,
get him to retain.
That would be great. But it's
that'd be funny.
It would be.
But yes, here's another. There's another. Especially if they're going to trade Luke, not Luke, but Quinn Hughes, because they're planning on doing that too. Then they need a guy, and then they could use Nystrom coming back, and so that's where, that would make that more attractive to them if we're going to do that kind of deal.
Yeah, and it's I would hate to see Nystrom go, but if we finally fill a need that's been needed to be filled for 5 years,
you got to give to get.
Yeah,
and it's still it shows the importance of drafting well. That you can pull off trades like that. That's what was able to land us Gensel. Now our front office fumbled keeping him, but the fact that we were able to get him in a division trade was because we drafted players like Koivunen and I think it was Cruz Lucius. Koivunen's now playing, by the way.
Ponomarev was in that deal too, wasn't he?
Ponomarev too. He is not, but Koivunen is actually playing for Pittsburgh and playing well.
Wyatt, what's up? What's up, buddy? Brandon Bussi. Brandon Bussi. Yep, that's a good way to put it. Bussi went undrafted. Yeah, I just had to look that up because I couldn't remember, but that's insane. The Bussi rise makes more sense when you realize the goalies in Beantown that kept him out. Rass, Swayman, Allmark did the bus fall through the cracks. Yeah, they might have it was kind of a similar
right themselves.
It's kind of a similar situation when Carolina drafted Frederick Anderson the first time and he saw no way up, so he re-entered the draft. But then the Canes goaltending depth chart just totally fell the hell apart after that. So it was but I remember that because I was kind of okay, well, fine. I mean, if he wants to go somewhere else. So then I realized, oh, wait, he didn't really have a way to the big club. So it's if you don't see a path forward, I can understand why you'd want out. Boom won't win the Calder, but for a rookie defenseman in RBA system, the growth is slow but noticeable. Take your time. Demidov, Seneca, and Schaefer elsewhere. Nikishin will be a monster. I agree. And he played well tonight. He still makes some really stupid mistakes sometimes when he has the puck, especially below the goal line in the defensive zone. He tends to make mistakes there, but they're not nearly as bad as they were, because at first that was one thing I was really worried about. And one other thing that I was worried about, and I think that you and I have talked about this before, I was worried he was going to chase hits at times that he shouldn't, and he's not doing that.
He hasn't. Nope. I think that was coaching.
Yeah,
I think he was
I do
responding
too.
to coaching pretty well.
Yeah. And it sounds like he's learning the language a little bit better now too, so that helps. Slump says thought on the Marty tilt. So I posted something about that. I think that's the biggest reason Carolina didn't win in regulation, other than the post, because Washington feeds off of stuff like that. Carolina doesn't. I would have rather them just refrain from it and not get, because right after that fight was over, Washington nearly scored, literally the next sequence. So I just wouldn't have done that personally.
Yeah, but it might have been worth it if we were able to get a nice clean shot to Nick Dowd's face.
Yeah, I'll never hate on that. But if Nick Dowd was a Hurricane, I wouldn't be upset about it. I like him. Slump says, I thought it was funny when Ehlers just skated 2 circles around the net in OT. Yeah, dude, he's literally
that was the right thing to do, though. That was the correct decision.
He's Natchez if he could defend. Like, that's basically what he is. It's like, now who I think has more God-given talent, I still think that's Natchez, but like, who's more effective at both ends of the ice and on both sides of the puck, that to me, that's Ehlers. Natchez is exactly in the type of environment now that he needs to be in. Like, I'm glad he's thriving in Colorado. I really am. And, Jack Drury's got a little bit bigger of a role now than he had in Carolina, like that fits him a little bit more and everything like that. Not to use it as an excuse for the team is doing all this without the best shutdown defenseman. When Slavin is back, I would expect better defensive control in games. This could help Freddie and Kuz, but more importantly, could take Bussi to superstardom. Yeah, that is true.
Especially on the PK, on the penalty kill, because
that's where the Canes are hurting the most.
Really missing him. It's really missing Slavin.
5-on-5, they're actually not that different. With
5-on-5 is fine. They're fine. They can still be better, but
yeah,
they're effective defensively 5-on-5. But on the penalty kill, you really need that, just because especially when they're getting beat, it's been those goal line passes that have just been tap-ins.
Yeah,
and Slavin would shut that down.
Yeah, they would never even happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other thing about it. It's because coming into the night, Washington had a plus 28 goal differential, and I think their power play was only about 1.5 points above Carolina's. Yet you still managed to hold them to 2 goals in regulation. And, that's a pretty big accomplishment without Slavin.
And just especially, it was definitely the most difficult save on Ovechkin was when he stuck his pad out back to stop the back door. But to me, the one I liked the most was when he stoned Ovechkin from his office. That's great. Another thing that I was looking to see, because I'm so, again, fitting, providential. I'm so happy this happened, because on just about every other, definitely on either of our other 2 goalies and most goalies in the league, that's in the net. That specific shot is in the net. And it isn't because he's catching right and he's 6'5".
Yeah.
And he threw it off. Like even the grade 8 Alexander Ovechkin himself was thrown off because of Brandon Bussi, because he's just an enormous right catching goalie.
Yeah. And, it's like Bussi made a couple of saves where he didn't even get the entire glove on it. It just kind of went off the tip of it and everything. Like, that saves you don't normally see on that side, because he doesn't catch on the traditional side. Let me go back. Wait, we already did that one. Dylan says, I think we should bring in more than just one player personally. I'm not entirely sure about that anymore. If you don't move a roster player out other than Kotkaniemi, I don't see a need. I really don't. Because, if you get, say, Pettersson, you throw him with Ehlers and Blake, and you move Stankoven down. If you want him to keep developing at center, put him with E-Rob and Hall, and he can still continue to develop that skill set, and maybe you can see if you can have something there, because a lot was asked of Stankoven this season to go from being a winger playing in the bottom 6 to a top 6 center like in one off season. That's a big jump. That's a bigger jump than what Aho had to make, because Aho was already playing in the top 6. And then he just had to become a center after that, which is much easier said than done, but he did so effectively. I know that he's been a little bit rough lately and everything like that. And, we know he has another gear. He's just not found it yet. And that's what I was telling people about, like the whole thing with everyone down on him about having a 100-point season. 1, I can care less if he ever has one. 2, I want him to do more in the playoffs if I'm going to have him do more anywhere. And 3, people expect him to be McDavid and McKinnon, and he's just not in that company. That's not to say that he's not a good player. If you want to talk
He's more
about
like a mini Barkov.
he's more like Barkov, Kopitar, Backstrom, and Bergeron. And out of all four of those guys, there was only one 100-point season among them, and Nicholas Backstrom had it. That was the only one. And I think that's probably the least comparable to Aho because Backstrom was slow as fuck. Like, he was probably one of the best slow players that ever lived, but he was always slow even before he had the hip issue.
And
I like
Nicholas
Backstrom.
Ovi, he fed Ovi for a living is all he did.
I hope Ovechkin gave him some of those really gigantic checks he has, because if you take Nicholas Backstrom out of the equation, that's about 500 of his goals gone. Like, that's
it. He fed Ovi for a living.
On the power play.
That's fair enough. Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, so then I think I gotta get head out in a bit, but yeah, thanks for having me on about this again. Thanks for indulging me an impromptu stream
absolutely.
Here. Yeah, I'm so pleased, and I'm just we may have gotten it. We may have finally got the goalie, and it came off waivers that we weren't even intending to do, and no one saw coming.
No, no one saw that.
Providence.
He fought.
That
for
is
his
just
spot.
Providence.
It really is.
That is Providence right there.
Yeah, and I gotta get up early anyway, because me and my girlfriend did that little the what's it called, the angel tree thing, where you buy toys for kids.
Awesome. So our family did that too.
Yeah, we're gonna go pick them up in the morning and deliver them and everything. So I got to get up relatively early and get the dog taken care of and all that. But I'll finish up these comments after you're gone and everything like that. But I appreciate you coming on here.
I'll say for the comments. Okay. Basically, 11:30 is where I got to cut off. But
okay, yeah, we'll finish these up then. So Ethan says he corrected it to PK in the next comment. So he means PK and Riley to Edmonton for McDavid. You know, Edmonton could use a defenseman like Riley. And feel lucky we gave you that much. Go ahead, hand him over before I rethink
it. How about this, Edmonton? You give us McDavid, and we'll give you back future considerations. We'll take him off your hands for you.
Future considerations is going to be a star in this league. We would have to bring in someone who can replace KK's physicality. That's why I don't want Svechnikov in the discussion of trades. Because, like, I know
as
which one I'd rather
frustrating as
keep.
he is, he's serving a purpose.
And when he turns it on, he turns it on. Like the last game, he played incredibly well.
Yeah, against
Svechnikov did. Against Columbus, Svechnikov was probably the best player. He really was.
Yes, he was.
From what I saw, Islanders ran Leonard and Sorokin and Varlamov in 23 and 24. Yeah, it was Leonard, and then in game 4, Leonard got pulled, and then Greiss came in. I was like, well, we're about to get reverse swept because Thomas Greiss absolutely had our number that year.
We couldn't beat him. We couldn't beat him for the life of us for like 3 seasons.
There was one game I think we had 54 shots on goal, and we only scored once or something.
Yeah, we lost. Yeah, I think we lost 3 or 4 to 1 that game. Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I was just like, there's no fucking way this is happening. As genuinely look like an immovable object right now. I would have confidence if Carolina acquired the last piece that it looks like they need, which is a center that they could hang with them in a 7-game series if it were to come to that in the Stanley Cup Finals. Win it, maybe not, but make it interesting.
We get Slavin back.
Yes.
Yeah, we can win that. We can win a series against them.
Kochetkov Saturday, then Bussi Sunday for the home and home. Bussi needs to start at least one game this weekend. I don't care how it's sliced.
For sure.
I wouldn't be upset with having Bussi start on Saturday since it's on the road, and he's the better goalie right now. So because at home you have last change, so that makes life a little bit easier for your goalie anyway, especially with the way that the Hurricanes go about things. So I would start Bussi on Saturday.
Although I see what you mean, and under normal circumstances, I'd agree with you, but we suck at Sunday matinee games, so we might need Bussi for that one just because he can keep us in it until maybe they finally wake up.
Yeah, that's true. He hasn't been infected with the matinee curse yet. It'll get him. It gets everybody. But
no, well, yeah, because they were infected with that curse against Calgary. They weren't good. The Canes were not good.
The Canes sucked that day.
But Bussi was. Yeah.
It's funny how it seems like the Canes always have games like that against Calgary too, because I remember the night that Svechnikov scored the lacrosse goal the first time. They couldn't have been playing if they were playing against Calgary, and they couldn't have been playing any worse. I was like, they sucked tonight. They were like awful. And then Svechnikov scored that lacrosse goal, and I just sat there with I was just like, I didn't yell. I didn't get happy.
He scored in the power play then that won the game. They gave the game winner too. I don't know if you remember
because
that.
I was just kind of like, did he actually just do that? What the hell was in my food? I didn't believe that actually like happened. I texted my dad and I'm like, did that actually happen?
when they used to have the call-in show on 99.9 The Fan after games, I called in that night and I talked to John Forsland. And I said, have you ever seen a sicker goal? And he told me, no, never.
No. And he knows all about that because he coined the phrase, oh my goodness, that was sick, which it was funny hearing him say that because he's such a reserved person. So hearing him use a phrase like that, I was like, oh, wow, okay, John, like, here we go. Or, eventually when I ask him to come on here, if he does, I'm going to call him Mr. Forsland until he inevitably tells me to stop. And then I'm just still going to actually
let me know when that happens because I will be in the live chat for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing. I'm going to wait until next summer when he's not so busy because it's the season, so he's all over the place right now. Has Natchez played at Lenovo Center since he became an Avalanche yet? I can't remember. No, not yet.
He has not.
That will be on January 3rd, I believe, is when the Avalanche are in town. Daniel Press. Okay, that's between him and Lackey. Tage Thompson scored. That release is so fun to watch. I need Buffalo to lose if they're going to get him.
I need.
I'm still a Robert Thomas guy.
He's going to have to see, in order for Thompson to be available, he's going to have to request. He's going to have to say, you know what, y'all can move me, because it won't happen otherwise.
I agree.
But if they're still a ray on the outside, but come deadline time, if I was his agent, I would.
Yeah. The Aho slander from this fan base is already getting out of hand. Yeah, it is. It's Eric Stahl all over again. And the thing is, the team doesn't suck right now. Like it's hit some bumps, but it's not bad by any means. It's like it was this and I was guilty of it too, and that's why I've been careful to not do it now that I'm like talking hockey publicly. Like I was really bad about like being tired of Eric Stahl and tired of Cam Ward, and then it wasn't until in retrospect I realized how bad that team was around that time frame. Like, how are you supposed to win with a team like that around you? How is Cam Ward supposed to win with a team like that?
Belmore was on that team. Drayson Bowman was on.
I like Drayson Bowman.
Remember, he's fine. Zach Boychuk.
Yeah.
Zach Dalpy.
Talk about a dud, Zach Boychuk.
We ruined his development. He should have been a lot better. He should have had a career.
He should have.
Carolina. That was back when this team was like worse than the Rangers in player development at that time.
That they were. And they were bad at drafting too. Like really, like it wasn't until like around the time frame they started drafting Slavin and Pesci and Aho that they kind of figured it out. Like I think the previous front office would have actually not drafted Svechnikov. That's how bad they were. Like I really think that they would have made that mistake. Okay, discussion. I could get behind Bussi getting one of the starts this weekend. I'd definitely give Freddie the other so he doesn't sit out for too long. Yeah, because Kochekov has started more recently than Freddie, so I understand the sentiment. But
he is never going to be the right decision now if you want to win the game.
Yeah.
If your priority is, we have to get him a game because he's been sat for too long, then winning is not your number one priority. And I can't be that guy. Without it really not mattering, which it'll never not matter now because the standings are too close. I just don't really see a place for Freddie on the team right now.
Somebody just quoted me on X and said, "Send Freddie to the Guangdong Tigers." All right, one last comment here, and then we're going to call it a night. Wizard says Aho has ups and downs every season, yet he always shows up when the games get important. He's playing a more energy-efficient game to save himself. If he's doing that, I'm fine with that because it is arduous to play the way the Hurricanes play. And, we saw in the playoffs last year, ended the series against New Jersey, had 2 goals against Florida in Game 5, like actually made that game interesting. If Walker and Chatfield had been if Walker and Chatfield had been healthy in Game 5, that series might have gone on a little bit longer. And if Scott Morrow wasn't put in over Alexander Nikishin, that series might have gone on longer. You had home ice advantage against one of the best teams in the league, and you totally botched it by putting a guy in there who was a complete and total single point of failure. And that's not arguable at all. Not in the slightest. When he stood there and watched that third goal, I was like, it was him shying away from hitting Kachuk that made me like, I'm done with him. Get him out of here. I don't want to see him at all. And, that's one thing that does suck when there's certain players I'll do backflips when they get traded. Scott Morrow is one of them. KK, I will just because I think that he'll ultimately have a chance to flourish somewhere else. Freddie, it's going to suck to see him go because he's been through so much with this team. But
I would have loved
we're at critical mass.
He's one of those guys like I would have loved to get him a cup. I would have loved to get Brett Pesci a cup. Like
Absolutely.
he is someone I really wish we could have hoisted the cup with him. You know, that's not going to happen, but you have to put the team first. And right now, it's not him.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that too.
We all got to get on we're all on the Magic School Bus. We're all on the Magic School Bus here right now.
Yeah, it sucks. It really sucks for Freddie. And, you know, I like him and everything. There's not many people in the last 7 years that I don't like on this team. It was basically Eric Holla and Scott Morrow are about the only one that Jake Bean will throw him in there and Nedeljkovic. So, like, there's not been many players in this era that I haven't liked.
Yep. And I think that'll do it, right?
Yep, that'll do it for me too, because I'm gonna get off of here and get me some sleep before I got to get up early. And I'll be doing everybody. I'll be doing 2 streams tomorrow. I'll be doing the actual damage report where I break down the numbers, and I will be doing a landfall hour to preview both games this weekend. And then me and my buddy Derek Dunn will be on here. He's a Flyers fan. He's really cool. You probably have seen him on X. Him and I talk a lot on there. Him and I will be doing a stream together on Monday, recapping the weekend. Matthew, Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Brandon. Thanks so much.
All right, guys. Everybody else, y'all take care. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate all the support and everything. We'll see you next time.